Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me for Hard Money Happy Hour. Hope you had a wonderful week. It was pretty hot out this week, pretty crazy, but I guess something to get used to in Baltimore in the summer. Just one of those weeks we have. I want to talk to you today about something really important. It affects, I think, all of us. It's the fact that we work at home, we end up grazing, eating too much food and gaining weight. I'm not really going to talk about that, but that is a problem I'm dealing with. That's for another day. I do want to talk today on a more serious topic about business and about our industry and some recent challenges we've had. I've talked a little bit about this in the past, and I want to bring it up again. It's when to walk away from a deal. Constantly, we have people coming to us, both new people and experienced people who are coming to us and saying, I like this deal, I want to get in on this. Especially with the newer people, but even with the experienced ones, they're jumping into deals that may not make sense. And we've had some situations recently. This last week, we had 3 where when we did the analysis with our clients, it wasn't worth moving forward. That meant losing an earnest money deposit. In one of the cases, it was a large earnest money deposit. So the recommendation is a lot of clients, if you can, put a small earnest money deposit down when you're buying an investment property. That's great. We see a lot of $1,000 EMDs, earnest money deposits. And if you have to walk away, it's not the end of the world. The seller, however, if I were the seller, I'd probably ask for more. A lot of sellers do ask for more. And so it might be $3,000 or $4,000 or even $5,000. In one of the cases we had this past week, even at a $5,000 earnest money deposit, it was still not worth moving forward. They still were better off walking away from the deal, better off not doing it than keeping that money and moving forward, even at a big loss, at a relatively decent amount of money. When they looked at the deal and we looked at the numbers, the risk was too high. The costs were going to get too expensive. In the specific situation, we had someone who was buying a property that had a tenant in it. Their plan was to ride it out for a little bit, get the tenant out, rehab it, increase the rent, get a new tenant in, and go from there. The uncertainty over the current tenant was too big. They didn't know when they were going to get this tenant out or if they could ever get the tenant out. That can sometimes be a challenge. There are some ways and techniques people use to get the tenants out, but for this client, it just was too much for him to swallow. It was too much for him to have to deal with. Understandably, he was relatively new to the business. So he walked away from a fairly large earnest money deposit saying, I don't want to deal with this. It's going to be too much hassle. This tenant may never leave. I may never be able to get the benefit I'm looking for of redoing this property, renovating it and increasing the rent, getting the better cash flow. So they decided to walk. And we supported that decision, okay? We did the math with him and said, it's ultimately your call, but our advice is it does make sense to do that because there is too much risk involved in this situation. So keep in mind, sometimes it is a good thing to walk away. Sometimes it does make sense. Not every deal is a win, and not every deal is something you should jump into. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully it's not too hot. Enjoy, hopefully, some time off, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.